Hey everyone, Andrig with Andrig's Aircooled Technology. Wanted to make a quick video of kind of something unique that a customer asked for. Had a customer contact me saying he wanted to buy, the full Evolution 2 cooling system, so the Evolution fans with the Evolution fan shroud, oil cooler block off the whole works. But he wanted to know if he could get the air inlet backing plate combination CNC machined out of aluminum, as well as the velocity ring CNC machined out of aluminum. So my gut reaction when I first saw the email was, well, probably not. I don't think anyone would be willing to really pay the price for that, because when you do just one-off large parts out of aluminum, CNC machined, it's expensive. And so when I do prototypes that are CNC machined and do, sometimes I'll always make two, because two actually gives, a little bit of sometimes two is actually as cheap or cheaper than doing one. So doing one off is always expensive. But he's like, oh, give me a quote for it, so I, took the CAD models that I already had, exported them into, instead of a mesh format, into a CNC machine format, step format, and uploaded those, and I gave him the quotes for it, and he's like, yeah, I'll do that, but I can't afford to do it all at once. We'll do that, and then I'll pay for the fan shroud, then we'll pay for the fan, etc. I'm like, fine, great, okay. So we did that, and of course, to keep the price as low as possible, it was done internationally, and it was the longest lead times. That reduces the price. But I wanted to show you kind of how it all turned out. So here's the air inlet backing plate out of aluminum. So it's the alloy I chose was 6082 T6 aluminum. Typically you might see this being 6061 is probably the most common alloy being used. But in this case, actually, 6082 is actually less expensive than 6061 for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why. 6082 is actually a stronger alloy than 6061. Not that it needed any additional strength. I 3D print this and it's strong enough, right? So it's it's very strong and it really looks nice. He's not really sure exactly what he's going to do with it in terms of paint it, powder coat it, maybe just have it polished and powder coated clear. You can anodize this, etc. So there's the air inlet backing plate. Fits just like the 3D print one does. I already test fit it. Looks really nice. The surfaces, of course, are nice and smooth. And here is the Evolution fan shroud velocity ring. And of course, I test fit it as well. It fits beautifully. So he asked me actually what was my first impression when I saw the parts, and I'm like, well, they're heavy. I'm so used to 3D print, both of these, and I'm so used to carrying these around, and they're, very light because they're, 3D printed, so they feel very heavy, feel unusual, to me in my hand, but essentially they came out, really nice. The accuracy, in terms of this compared to 3D print is kind of right on the money, just like the 3D print is, so they look nice. So before anybody starts saying, hey, maybe you should just do that for everybody, I actually did in the process of this, have my, up the volume on the quotes to see kind of how far down the price curve it can go, and even at pretty high volumes, the price per part ends up being, let's see, that's about 7 times more expensive than the 3D print. So in that regard, there is like really not much of a possibility of transitioning those products to be CNC machined out of aluminum. The cost is just way too high on a per part basis compared to, I could never come close to the part, the prices I'm charging for like the velocity ring. Like this velocity ring is $59 I'm charging for that. I can't get even the cost to that, let alone have any margin, right, to deal with and make a profit. So That's just not really in the cards. Although, if anybody wants to do and is willing to pay for the one-off cost, like this customer was, happy to accommodate people if they don't care about the cost, right? So in that regard, certainly I'll continue to entertain anybody who wants to do something like this with those parts, so they come out really nice, and I think he's going to be really ecstatically happy with them. Not that he wouldn't be happy with the 3D printed parts too. I think he would have been, but this is what he wanted, right? So he's going kind of all out the way he wants to really do things, and so I'm always willing to listen to people and accommodate them. So appreciate the time, and thought you guys would be interested to see those, and kind of just a little fun thing on the side of what's going on, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.